Hey everyone, Michelle here and welcome back to my channel and welcome to my April TBR video. So, April is a funny month. Because my theme for the month is sequels, I can't read you the blurbs for the sequels I am reading because spoilers. But to get around that, I'm going to show you the sequel in this hand and the first book in this hand, and then I will read you the blurb for the first book, because obviously there won't be spoilers in that blurb. Hopefully. I haven't read some of these books in a year, so I can't quite remember what the blurb says. However, like normal, I will start with my 2 reading challenges books and then get on to the other books I wish to read. So for April, the prompt for the Read Your Bookshelf challenge, that's a mouthful, is to have a title with 5 or more words. For myself, this book will be The Thief on the Winged Horse by Kate Mascarenas, I do believe. I'm pretty sure I'm pronounced that properly. Firstly, it's shiny, I love it. Secondly, after reading her author profile, I've realised I could have read this for March. Because Kate is part Irish, part Seychelles, I think. I probably pronouncing that wrong, I do apologise. But there are 6 words in the title, so I can read it for this month. And the synopsis says, the Kendrick family have been making world-famous dolls for over 200 years. But their dolls aren't coveted for their craftsmanship alone. Each one has a specific emotion laid on it by its creator. A magic that can make you feel bucolic bliss or consuming paranoia at a single touch. Though founded by sisters, now only men may know the secrets of the workshop. Persephone Kendrick longs to break tradition and learn her ancestors' craft. And when a handsome stranger arrives claiming doll-making talent and a blood ties to the family, she sees a chance to grasp all she desires. But then, one night, the firm's most valuable doll is stolen. Only someone with knowledge of magic could have taken her. Only a Kendrick could have committed this crime. And the word for April for Buzzwordathon is space related. So for that one I went with Bone Crier's Moon by Catherine Purdy, which kind of goes with my theme for the rest of my books, which I'm kind of glad about. While I love this cover, I'm hoping I like this story, because the cover for the second book, love it. And this book was gifted to me by Rima in one of my book groups on Facebook for Christmas. So thank you, Rima. Bone Criers have a sacred duty. They alone can keep the dead from preying on the living. But their power to ferry the spirits of the dead into Goddess Ilara's night heavens or Tyrus's underworld comes from sacrifice. The gods demand a promise of dedication at the cost of the Bone Crier's one true love. Elise has been prepared since birth to become the matriarch of the Bone Criers. But first she must complete her rite of passage and kill the boy she's also destined to love. Bastian's father was slain by a Bone Crier and he's been seeking revenge ever since. But his vengeance comes too late. Elise's ritual has begun and now their fates are entwined in life and in death. Sabine has never had the stomach for the Bone Crier's work. But when her best friend Elise is taken captive, Sabine will do whatever it takes to break the bond between Elise and Bastian before they all die. I cannot wait to read this book. From what I've heard, people have enjoyed it, so hopefully I will enjoy it too. And then next time I do a sequels month, not for May, but next year most likely, I can add the sequel to my TBR. So the first sequel on my list is War Maidens by Kelly Kuhn, which is the sequel to last year's book, Grave Maidens by Kelly Kuhn. Grave Maidens was a good book from what I can remember. I did read it last January, so some of the parts are foggy. However, the most important thing, I remember the ending and the majority of the characters, which is always good. This is the first book in a duology, so once I've read the sequel, I will have finished this series. I haven't said, but I have 42 unfinished series on my series list. There's a reason I'm doing 2 months of sequels. In the walled city-state of Alu, Kamani wants nothing more than to become the accomplished healer her father used to be, before her family was cast out of their privileged life in shame. When Alu's ruler falls deathly ill, Kamani's beautiful little sister, Nania, is chosen as one of 3 sacred maidens to join him in the afterlife. It's an honour, a tradition, and Nania believes it is her chance to live an even grander life than the one that was stolen from her. But Kamani sees a selection for what it really is, a death sentence. Desperate to save her sister, Kamani schemes her way into the palace. There she discovers more danger lurking in the sandstone corridors than she could have ever imagined, and that her own life and heart are at stake. But Kamani will stop at nothing to dig up the palace's buried secrets, even if it means sacrificing everything, including herself. The cover for this book is pretty simple and stunning. The sequel cover matches perfectly, which I love, and is even more pretty if I do say so myself. The next sequel I want to read, and again the second book in a duology, is The Ever-Cruel Kingdom, the sequel to The Never-Tilting World by Chapika. Again, 2 matching covers, 2 stunning covers. Again, if I read you this blurb, it spoils the ending for this book. And the ending for this book was something that hasn't left my mind since January last year when I read it. A world split between day and night. Remarkable in beauty and fearsome in power, generations of twin goddesses have long ruled Aeon. Until 17 years ago, when one sister's betrayal defied an ancient prophecy and split their world in 2. The planet ceased to spin and 3/4 of the world perished. Now a great abyss divides the planet, one side cloaked in perpetual night, the other scorched beneath an unrelenting sun. While one sister rules Aranth, a frozen city surrounded by a storm-racked sea, her twin inhabits a sand-locked golden city. Each goddess has raised a daughter, and each goddess keeps her own secrets about the past. But when spectral forces summon those daughters to the site of the breaking, the 2 young goddesses, along with a powerful healer from Aranth and a mouthy desert scavenger, set out on separate journeys across treacherous wastelands, desperate to heal their broken world, no matter the sacrifice it demands. And the sacrifice it demands was the ending to this book. I could see it coming, however, I liked it. It's like I said, it stayed with me. I have been waiting to read this sequel, but I couldn't get around to it last year. So knowing I had this sequel to read was one of the main reasons I chose to do a sequel month in April. And then the amount of sequels I have to read, I thought I may as well do it for May as well. The next sequel I want to read is The Art of Dying, which is the sequel to The Way of All Flesh by Ambrose Parry. If you recognise this book, that is because I read this for Bookoplathon. I'm not going to go and make you watch my hour-and-a-half long video, don't worry. But I wasn't planning on reading this sequel in April. Then this came out as a 5-star and I thought this has to be bumped from May to April. Edinburgh, 1847. Will Raven is a medical student, apprenticing for the brilliant and renowned Dr. Simpson. Sarah Fisher is Simpson's housemaid and has all of Raven's intelligence but none of his privilege. As bodies begin to appear across the old town, Raven and Sarah find themselves propelled heading into the darkest shadows of Edinburgh's underworld. And if either of them are to make it out alive, they will have to work together to find out who's responsible for the gruesome deaths. Like I said, I gave this book a 5 stars. I loved this book. I'm doing my wrap up tomorrow and I cannot wait to chatter on to you about this book. Because I like this book so much, I cannot wait to dive into this one. And Ambrose Parry is actually a pseudonym for a husband and wife team. I can't remember their names now, I do apologise. Yep, so it's between Chris Brookmeyer and Marissa Heitzman. Chris is an internationally best-selling and multi-award-winning author of crime novels, and Marissa is a doctor. She's actually a consultant anaesthetist with 20 years experience. So by combining their two minds together, they have come out with a great book. I'm hoping the second book will be as good so I can pre-order this third book, which comes out into this year, I believe. The next sequel I have to show you, unfortunately I don't have the first 2 books in this series out on the shelves because I read them a couple of years ago. But this is one blurb where it doesn't spoil anything. So I can gladly read this to you. And that book is Bridge of Souls by Victoria Schwab. This is Victoria's 3rd book in the Cassidy Blake series. I've heard rumours this is the last one, however recently I have begun to believe that there may be more. I'm not sad about that. This is a YA/middle grade. I'm always a bit unsure as to what to class this one, but it's really good. It's Victoria Schwab, of course it's going to be really good. Whether a ghost, Cassidy Blake follows, unless it's the other way round. Cass might have this ghost hunting thing down. After all, she and her best friend Jacob have survived 2 haunted cities while travelling for her parents' show. But nothing can prepare Cass for New Orleans, a city bursting with old magic, secret societies and scary seances. And the biggest surprise, an enemy she never expected to face, a messenger of death itself. Is Cass up to the challenge, and what will she have to lose to win? Again, I cannot wait to dive into the sequel. Another book where I remember exactly what happened in the past books. I know where it left off, so I cannot wait to dive into this book. So the next 4 books I have, Paper and Fire, Ash and Quill, Smoke and Iron and Sword and Pen, are the last 4 books in the Great Library series, which starts with Ink and Bone, written by the late Rachel Kane. I'm going to put these down now because I can imagine they're going to be uncomfortable to hold. And I can confirm if I had read the blurb of Paper and Ash to you, I would have spoiled Ink and Bone. Ink and Bone was amazing and I don't want to spoil it. I think everyone should go read this series. Knowledge is power, power corrupts. In a world where the ancient Great Library of Alexandria was never destroyed, knowledge now rules the world. Freely available, but strictly controlled, owning private books is a crime. I would be in prison. Let's be honest. I think a lot of us would be in prison. Jess Brightwell is the son of a black market book smuggler sent to the library to compete for a position of a scholar. But even as he forms friendships and finds his true gifts, he begins to unearth the dark secrets of the greatest, most revered institution in the world. Those who control the Great Library believe that knowledge is more valuable than any human life. And soon both heretics and books will burn. It's a series about the Great Library of Alexandria. How could I not like it? And the final book I want to read, and the one that I am buddy reading next week with Ada, is Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson, Book 3 in Mistborn Trilogy 1. The 3rd book, where the first one is The Final Empire. And the tagline for this series is, what if the Dark Lord had won? Because a lot has happened between book 1 and book 2, if I read you the blurb for book 3, it will spoil both books for you. This is an amazing series to start off in with the world of Brandon Sanderson. He's wrote so many books and so many worlds that I don't want to spoil it for you. I think everyone who wants to read adult fantasy / sci-fi should start with this series. The myths rule the night, the Lord Ruler owns the world. For 1,000 years the ash fell, for 1,000 years the scar slaved in misery and lived in fear. For 1,000 years the Lord Ruler reigned with absolute power and ultimate terror, divinely invincible. Every attempt to revolt has failed miserably. Yet somehow hope survives. A new kind of uprising is being planned, one that depends on the cunning of a brilliant criminal mastermind, Kel, and the courage of an unlikely heroine, a scar street urchin, who must learn to master allomancy, the power of a mistborn. She's called Vin, by the way. You will love Vin and you will have feelings for Kel. What if the prophesied hero had failed to defeat the Dark Lord? That is what this series is about. The first 2 books, like I said, I love them, so I cannot wait to read the 3rd and final book. There is another Mistborn trilogy, however, I think I will not read that straight away. I may read other Sanderson books because I know that they all come together in one universe, but some of them are huge. They've had to be split in 2 to be released in the UK, and even then each book's like 800 pages. Which isn't a lot when you consider this one's 712. No, sorry, it's 724. I've tabbed it so that me and Ada can read it throughout the full week, so we're not burning ourselves out with Sanderson. So here are all the books I want to read this month. There is 11 books. It counts up to 4,713 pages, which sounds like a lot, but I did read 4,900 last month, so should be doable, especially with my 2 weeks off from work. I'm putting these down now because they're quite heavy. So a mixed selection this month. Please let me know if you've read any of them and if you like them. Or if you would like to buddy read Hero of Ages with me and Ada, I will leave my socials and Ada's socials down below. Contact one of us. We will quite gladly create a little group chat so we can talk about it. Again, if you've read any of these books and you want to give me your opinion, please do. I'm always open for opinion. I will link, like I said, I will link my socials down below. I will link Ada's Instagram down below. If you have liked this video, please give it a like. If you are new to my channel, hi, my name's Michelle. I blather on about books like no tomorrow. I either go in 2 directions. I spoil the book completely, or I'm so vague you sit there going, what the heck is she on about? If you are new and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. If you would like to see more of my videos, click on my name, they're all there. It doesn't get much better than this. And until next time, bye guys.